Hey everyone, and welcome to our newest explainer. Today, we are breaking down a truly fascinating concept that explores what is arguably the ultimate, yet most frequently underrated, factor for success. We're talking about vision, and specifically why raw, grueling hard work so often fails completely if you don't have it. If you've ever felt like you're putting in endless effort but just not getting where you want to be, this explainer is going to completely change how you think about your growth. So let's jump right in.
To really grasp this, I want you to picture something for a second. Imagine a massive kingdom. On paper, this place has it all. The king commands the strongest army, he possesses the biggest treasury, and he's advised by the smartest ministers in the land. But there's one fundamental problem. The king cannot see. He doesn't know where the enemy is approaching from. He has no idea which roads actually lead to prosperity, and he doesn't know which vital bridges are broken. So what happens to a kingdom like that? Well, eventually, confusion completely replaces confidence. The people lose trust, massive resources are wasted, and despite all its raw strength, the kingdom inevitably collapses. Why? Because it lacks direction.
And that brings us to the core takeaway here. Without vision, hard work simply becomes random effort. When you really think about it, isn't this exact same scenario playing out in our organizations, our businesses, and even in our personal lives? Raw effort, no matter how intense it is just wasted energy if it doesn't have a clear target. Today, we're going to unpack why having a vision is the foundational asset that keeps your hard work from falling apart. Okay, here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with what true vision actually is. Then, we'll cover why personal vision matters, followed by vision in the workplace. After that, we'll walk through 5 steps to build your own vision. And finally, wrap up with creating your future. So, let's dive into part 1. What is true vision, really? A lot of people assume having a vision means, looking into a crystal ball to predict what happens next. But that is just not true. True vision is simply about creating a clear picture of the future you want to build. Your physical eyes help you see today's immediate problems, but your vision is what helps you proactively prepare for tomorrow. It is a proactive blueprint, not just a reactive observation.
Think about driving down the highway at 100 kilometers an hour. If you just stare at the road right in front of the bonnet of your car, you're going to crash, right? Or at the very least, end up with a very expensive mechanic bill. Instead, you look far ahead, because the farther down the road you can see, the smoother and safer your journey becomes. Life works exactly the same way. People with a true vision don't just react to the potholes right in front of them today, they are actively preparing for the wide-open opportunities of tomorrow.
Moving on to part 2, why personal vision matters. Spoiler alert, being incredibly busy doesn't always mean you're actually growing. I absolutely love this analogy from the source material. Imagine 2 people climbing ladders. Both are sweating, both are putting in equal, tremendous effort. But after hours of exhausting climbing, one of them looks around and realizes their ladder is leaning against the entirely wrong wall. The hard work wasn't the problem at all, a lack of direction was. This is exactly why so many people feel completely burned out, even after years of putting in maximum effort. They are just climbing the wrong wall. What's really fascinating here is how easily we fall into these daily traps without a clear picture of where we're going. You constantly change your goals. You blindly follow whatever the latest trend is. You spend all your energy comparing yourself to everyone else around you. And slowly but surely, crushing stress completely replaces your natural confidence. It's a tough cycle to be in. But here's where a personal vision swoops in to help. It gives you the clarity to answer some absolutely crucial questions. Who do I want to become? What specific skills should I develop to get there? And just as importantly, what should I ignore so I know where to best invest my time? Listen, having a vision does not magically remove the challenges from your life, but it does successfully remove the confusion. It gives you a built-in filter for making your decisions.
Okay, let's scale this up a bit for part 3, vision in the workplace. Have you ever worked somewhere where the priorities literally change on a weekly basis? One day a project is a massive drop-everything emergency, and the next day you're told to completely ignore it and do something else entirely. Progress in those places is agonizingly slow because activity has completely replaced direction. You see endless meetings, massive amounts of overtime, and everyone looking incredibly busy. It's essentially the corporate equivalent of running on a treadmill. Lots of sweating, but absolutely zero forward movement. On the flip side, a visionary organization fundamentally aligns its people. When a company actually has a clear vision, every single employee can instantly answer 3 things. What are we building together? Why does my specific work matter? And how does my daily contribution help the organization succeed? When your team knows the answers to these questions, they don't just work harder, they work much smarter. They align their goals, and honestly, they experience way less unnecessary stress because all that guesswork is finally gone. To really highlight the role of leadership here, let's look at a tale of two ship captains facing the open ocean. The first captain has a very clear, mapped-out destination. The second captain, he just tells his crew to keep the ship moving. Now, when a massive storm hits, which ship is more likely to survive? The first one, for sure, because every single decision that captain makes during the storm is anchored to reaching that specific destination. A leader's true job isn't just handing out tasks, it's providing that destination. The contrast between these two types of leaders is honestly night and day. Visionary leaders communicate with real clarity, make consistent decisions, and actively build future leaders. They prepare their teams long before the problems even arise. But leaders without vision, they breed uncertainty, they become totally reactive, and they effectively kill innovation in its tracks. Without direction, even the absolute most talented teams will eventually stop and ask, wait, what are we actually trying to achieve here? And just like that, their motivation evaporates.
And hey, let's be clear. Vision is not just some corporate buzzword meant for CEOs and boardrooms. The source emphasizes that vision extends everywhere. Countries need it, cities need it, families, schools, and even our friendships become vastly stronger when people share a common direction. Every successful transformation and every great innovation in human history started simply because someone dared to imagine a better future before anyone else could see it.
All right, let's get practical. Part 4. 5 steps to actually build your vision. The source material lays out this brilliant, comprehensive 5-step framework. Define your destination, know your why, keep learning, review regularly, and inspire others. Let's see how this builds and break these down so you can apply them right away. Diving right into steps 1 and 2, it all begins with your destination and your purpose. For step 1, you have to ask yourself, where do I want to be in 5 years? The key here is to define what you truly want, not what your parents, peers, or society expects of you. Then, step 2 is knowing your why. You absolutely need a strong underlying purpose. Because when things get incredibly difficult, and they will, that's just life, a clear why gives you the strength to push through, which makes the difficult how so much easier to execute. Now for steps 3 and 4, keep learning and review regularly. Look, a vision without continuous learning quickly becomes totally outdated. The world is changing at breakneck speed, so your knowledge base has to adapt right alongside it. And step 4 is vital. You can't just set a vision and forget about it. You have to honestly review your progress. Every single month, pause and ask yourself, am I actually moving toward my destination or am I just staying busy?
And that brings us to step 5. Inspire others. A true vision is never selfish. It inherently grows when it is shared with the people around you. Great leaders, whether that's in a business, a community, or a family, don't just achieve success for themselves. They multiply it. They mentor others, they support their teams, and they lift people up along the entire journey.
Which leads us to our final section, Part 5, Creating Your Future.
This quote from the source really hits the nail on the head. Eyes allow us to see what's in front of us. Vision allows us to create what's ahead of us. Clarity of vision is the ultimate unlock for your daily decisions. It is the literal difference between merely surviving and actively growing. Once your vision is dialed in, your hard work becomes deeply meaningful and your growth becomes truly unstoppable.
I want to end this explainer with a bit of a challenge for you. Stop waking up every single day just asking, well, what should I do next? That is the question of someone stuck in the reactionary trap of mere activity. Instead, I want you to start asking a much bigger, much more powerful question. What kind of future do you want to create? Thank you so much for exploring this with me today. Now it's time to get to work building a future worth living.